Hello, welcome. This is Tea with the Druid 354. This is Philip Carr-Gomm. Tea with the Druid is brought to you by the Order of Bards, Ovids and Druids. Welcome to everybody. I can see the people coming from Plymouth and Belgium and Croatia. Hooray! London, Prince Edward Island, Plattsburgh, North Germany, New Forest, Canada, Berlin, Middle of England, Cambridge, Oakland, California, Flintshire. Lovely to see you. Newcastle and Rome, Georgia, USA, Finland, Southern Germany, Shropshire, Miami, Florida, Arkansas, drizzly Dartmoor, the Netherlands, Hampshire, Romania, great, Washington, Northwest Washington State, Florida, Moorfelden in Germany, West Sussex, Chichester. So good to see you. Andalusia, yeah. So as everybody gathers around, do just take your place in the circle, just to prepare for this time of peacefulness together, sitting together in the circle. A small fire burning in the center, smell of wood smoke, the trees around us. Sitting in the forest, knowing that although, of course, we're not physically sitting in a forest together, just imagining it is powerful and helpful and soothing, calming. And if you'd like to take a moment just to tune in to yourself and just get a sense of how you feel. A word or two comes bubbling up. Just to express how you feel, recognizing that we can often feel contradictory feelings. We can feel tired but excited, for instance. But maybe you're feeling two things, three things, or just one thing predominantly. And recognizing it can always change at any moment. Maybe you'd like to type it in. Depressed and overwhelmed. Relaced. And not relaxed, that probably means relaxed, doesn't it? Flat. Contented. Productive. Tired. Hopeful. Glad to be here. A bit tired but content. Frazzled but proud. Content and energized. Flat. Exhausted after gardening but proud. Creamy. Concerned and pensive. Curious and hopeful. Relaxed and happy. Positive, peaceful, grateful, tranquil, ready. Sick, got a stupid cold, but tired, relieved, gaining clarity, warming, tired, exhausted but calm. Deep physical exhaustion, but contented and happy about the effort and the future. Disgruntled with employer, but grateful to be here. Tired and defensive. Happy and peaceful. Feeling unproductive, but at peace. In mourning because my cat Puddles has passed away, but so grateful for him. Contented, but waiting for the rain. Comfortable. Greetings from the rock. All of the good things. Happy to have got over a head injury. Looked more dramatic than it was. Delighted, full of hay fever, tired. Okay. Compromised physically and mentally. A bit empty. Grateful for the sunshine. Tired and happy. So thank you. Michael is lighting a candle for Puddles. Hugs for Puddles passing. Calm and peaceful. So, yeah. So I'm feeling, yes, I'm feeling a bit tired. Had a very full day, endless meetings and Zooms and emails and messages and so on. But really glad to be in company where I can share how I'm feeling. I think just to be able to say, as Julia Francis is here, tired and upset, and then for the next person to say pretty good. It's good that we can kind of give each other permission to feel however we're feeling. There's no kind of pressure to feel great or to feel bad or to feel anything. Just how do you feel? The other day I shared a couple of photos of where I live. I want to share another one with you, which is, let's see if you can see it. Can you see here? This is on a little walk that we often do near the house, and it's a little river called the Winterbourne, stream really, I suppose, called the Winterbourne, born in the winter, and it dries up in the summer, and it's just completely dry stream bed. In the winter, or whenever there's been a lot of rain, it flows. But because this area is on chalk, the water is very pure and clear. And you can't really tell from this picture, but that's about 6 foot deep there. Some people go cold bathing. Sometimes you're walking along and you meet some people dipping in there. And there's that lovely kind of turquoise tinge to it, and it's crystal clear. So I wanted to share that with you. And they're having a local festival all around celebrating this little stream, and with art and everything. So yeah. So what should we talk about? What should we talk about? Sometimes it's nice to sit quietly and not necessarily fill the space. And I wanted the phrase that came to me this evening in kind of tuning in to us all together was that really memorable phrase of clinical psychologist Bayo Akomolafe, who said a couple of years ago, I think now, the times are urgent, let's slow down. And of course, that seems really counterintuitive, because when things are urgent, you feel you've got to move fast. But it's in precisely the times when things are dangerous, risky, problematic, stressful, that slowing down can be really helpful. Maybe that's why in crises, do you remember there was somebody, if you've been watching this regularly, we had Dr. Steve Taylor, who's a psychologist who's come up with a book recently on time expansion experiences. And he talks about this common phenomenon of when people are in car crashes or go through dangerous situations, their sense of time expands. Everything slows down in slow motion. It's as if somehow by slowing ourselves down in that way, we're more able to cope. I can't remember if I mentioned this in that episode or not. I have a feeling I didn't, actually. The only time I've had that experience is when I was in New Zealand, and I said goodnight to some friends in their little house, walked across the garden and went up these steps to where they'd asked me to stay there, the bedroom, which was in a separate building that was on the first floor. And it was pitch dark, and I was carrying a mug of tea. And I made the wrong turn, and I suddenly found myself falling. Instead of going through the door, I just was falling in darkness. And I remember this strange feeling where I had this kind of meta commentary going. And I thought, oh, this is actually rather nice. There's a kind of tumbling back into the darkness. And then I landed with a thump. And so I think, from a kind of evolutionary perspective, that relaxation helped me to land in a floppy way. So I didn't kind of break any bones, but I went bang down on the ground like that. And my friends the next day, when I told them, said, well, it's a good thing we moved the glass. We had dismantled the greenhouse, and that area was full of panes of glass, and you could have fallen directly on it, which would have been just horrible. Michelle is saying that happened to me on a motorbike when a friend lost control near a huge mountainous drop. Yeah, and so what Steve did is he gathered experiences of people, and then explores this sense of time expanding, which is an experience you can have in altered states of consciousness too, in mystical states and so on. So So it seems to me that slowing down in consciousness is really a value. And so that when we're feeling stressed and when the world seems to be going crazy, as it does, just telling oneself that one's slowing down can be hugely helpful. I found myself telling myself I've got all the time in the world when I'm when when my rational mind said, no, you don't, you've really got to do these 10 things before 1 o'clock or whatever it is. I've got all the time in the world. I find that so soothing. And then paradoxically, I'm able to actually deal with the obligations more effectively. So the times are urgent. It's time to slow down. And I've got a kind viewer of Tea with the Druid has sent a wonderful poem by Pablo Neruda, which I'm going to read in our meditation, which is called Keeping Quiet. That's why I've titled this Tea with the Druid session, Keeping Quiet. And in a time when perhaps there's this strong sense is the last thing we should do is keep quiet because there are sort of outrageous things being decided and being done, and now is the time to stand up and make oneself heard. There is also the undoubted fact that just expressing one's opinion and just sounding off for the sake of it, often within one's own bubbles, everybody agrees with you anyway, is perhaps not the best course of action, and that one has to make oneself heard, but in different forums and so on. Some nice comments coming in. Ulla is saying, sometimes when I end the day by standing on the balcony and breathe in a few times, all being quiet, time stands still and I get like, what in the world have I been occupied by? And Michal says, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Yes. And Leone is talking about, Jane is saying, sitting in the silence long enough to hear the answers. Exactly. And Leone is talking about how she was on a roundabout and a lorry was coming so fast it was going to be a collision, and something took over my car and I somehow navigated my way out of it calmly and continued as if nothing had occurred. Yes. Misa, I begin my day these days in stillness, sipping tea, absorbing the beauty of nature, the flowers, the bees, the birds, until my body thrums with the goodness of life. Ellie's saying, good heavens, I'm late. What's going on? What are we talking about? We're talking about slowing down, Ellie, and the value in stressful and difficult times, which seem urgent times, of actually slowing down and taking a pause and taking a breath. And in doing so, we render ourselves more capable of responding effectively and then swiftly if necessary. My movement teacher, says Anna, used to say that speed can be the illusion of mastery. Wow, that's a nice one. Take your time. The illusion of mastery. Just because you're doing something quickly doesn't mean to say that. Yeah. Yes. And the serpent stone here. It's interesting, the slowing down, when I've experienced, is sometimes accompanied by a sense of presence. Yes, it's almost as if by slowing down and being quiet, we create the space for our sort of souls to come in more, for us to be more ourselves, as opposed to having to kind of be living at the periphery of our consciousness in a reactive way, just responding quickly instead of giving space for our souls to come in. So isn't it interesting? You see how amongst us there's this collective wisdom. This is why conversation is so powerful and so beautiful, I think. That, you know, in the days when I followed a guru for a while, it was definitely a one-way communication. He would get up on the podium and it would be a one-way street. You could sort of sometimes ask questions, they'd be put in a pot and you'd take one out and answer it. But basically it's a one-way street. Whereas I think, we've moved, or when I say we, who are we? I don't know. So some of us have moved to a different evolution. No, that's making an assumption. Some of us require a different approach, which is collaborative, and where we tune in, and somebody has to focalize. It's like I've got to sort of put this up on YouTube and take the mic and all the rest of it. So somebody focuses it and sets the stage and gives it a context and gives it boundaries and all the rest of it. But essentially we're engaged in some collaborative effort. So let's drop into a meditation now and increase our awareness of this collaborative effort and this collective field that I think we build together when we meet together and when we meditate together. Let's become more aware of this collective field that is always there, perhaps, and we just need to open to it. And when we're in particular constellations of people, in particular circumstances, it makes it easier for us to be aware. And so, from being aware of our surroundings, you might like to just gently close your eyes or lower your gaze and just become aware of yourself seated in front of your screen. The walls around you, the floor below you, the ceiling above you. Centered, present, here, now. And then if it feels okay, the walls, the ceiling, the floor just gently melt away as you come into an awareness of being seated together in a sacred grove. Almost 300 of us gathered around in the circle, a small fire burning in the center, the smell of wood smoke, the trees around us, bringing with them a sense of protection, of peace, of calm. We take in a slow, deep breath, hold, and then breathe out fully and deeply. And then again. And one more, third time. You become aware of the earth beneath you. And you notice how the earth holds your weight. You completely rely on the earth to carry you. Thank you, dear, sweet earth, for carrying, for allowing me just to let go completely, just to relax into your embrace, just to feel your healing energy, the slow energy of your being, encouraging me to slow down, encouraging me to breathe in deeply of your essence, of your aroma, and to breathe out all my tensions and worries and just to allow them to drift away, so that as I breathe in, I can breathe in the energy of the earth that energizes every cell in my body. And I become aware of the earth, the moisture in the earth, the freshness of the earth, all the life and the creatures in the earth and the rocks and the soil, everything alive, everything thrumming with life, vibrating with energy. And I sense the roots of the trees deep, deep down in the soil, drawing up the energy of the earth, drawing up the moisture, traveling up the trunks of the trees. I'm becoming aware now of the trees, each one a spirit, each one a unique individual spirit, but each one also part of a community of the forest, living in harmony together, creating an environment in which we can live in symbiosis with this community, as part of this community. And I breathe in deeply the aroma of the trees, breathing in and breathing out, feeling the energy of the trees blessing me, bringing a sense of strength, uprightness, steadfastness, dignity. Rooted in the soil, I stand dignified, upright, giving and loving. And I become aware of the branches above, the new shoots of the leaves appearing, the sky above, and I breathe in the energy of the sky. And the energy of the sky flows into me, enlivening every cell of my body. And as I breathe in, the energy of the sky meets the energy of the earth within the center of my being. And seated in the circle, sensing the quiet and the peace of the grove, I see a bard stepping forward, somebody stepping forward into the circle to recite a poem. Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. Now we will count to 12, and we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victories with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I'll count up to 12, and you keep quiet, and I will go. and how the earth can teach us so much if we listen to the soil and invite as many people as possible to cast off their clothes of importance and in new clothes embrace the silence and the doing nothing. And sitting here, we do nothing, just sitting quietly together. Just dropping into the quality of peace and stillness that exists both within us and outside of us and between us. The deep peace of the earth, of the trees and the stars. The deep peace that is our birthright, our heritage, our inner nature. You sense yourself just gently reaching out to either side to hold the hands of the person to your left and right, so that now we're seated together in the circle, holding hands, not straining to feel anything, not straining to give or receive, but just being in a different way now that we are holding hands together in a circle. May the peace and the calm in this circle radiate outwards. May peace prevail on earth. And you give the hand to either side of you a gentle squeeze and sense your hands now drifting downwards to rest on the earth, your two palms on the earth. And you feel the earth on your palms and you sense your love for the earth. May this earth be blessed. May the land be blessed. Your palms then drift up to your heart and placing your hands on your heart. We each of us ask, may our lives be blessed. May all life be blessed. And as you do this, you become aware of your physical body, and your awareness of the sacred grove begins to gently fade as you become conscious of being seated, the four walls around you, the floor beneath you, the ceiling above you, and feeling fully present here and now. When you feel ready, and only when you feel ready, you gently stretch your fingers and toes, and you open your eyes. Well, thank you so much. I realized that it's possible that the final verse that I read may have been written by a kind reader, a kind viewer who sent in the poem, because it's laid out in a different way. Either way it works, or it may be the poem of Neruda carrying on, but laid out in a different format. I didn't check the original, I should have done. But I just love Neruda's poetry. There's such beauty in it, isn't there? It's just fantastic. thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to now go into the Druid Hearth, which, if you're a member of the order, you can find your way to. And I very much look forward to seeing you again next week. Next week I'll be in Bulgaria, and but there's a good internet connection, so I'll be with you there. Okay, many blessings, much love. Have a really good week. See you next week. Okay, bye.